Right then, imagine this. A creature, massive, lurking deep in the sea. Bigger than a T-Rex it is. Its jaws are big enough to crush cars, and it can swallow multiple humans at a time. This ancient beast is called a megalodon shark, and if it had never become extinct, it would have a surprisingly large impact on our lives. How would it change the way we use our oceans? How big of a threat would it pose to people? And what are the chances that these creatures have been hiding deep in our oceans all this time? This is Fluxorama, and here's what would happen if megalodon sharks had never become extinct. Over the years, you hear stories, don't you? Reports of megalodon sightings have emerged all over the internet. A lot of them claim that these giant sharks never went extinct, that they've just been hiding in the deepest part of the ocean. It's the Mariana Trench. Now, you can't dive down there to check for yourself, but scientists say there's more than enough evidence to debunk these online accounts. If megalodon sharks were still around, we'd definitely know about it by now. Our oceans would be a lot more dangerous. Here's how we know that megalodon sharks haven't been hiding from us this whole time. For starters, if megalodon sharks still roamed our oceans, the last place they'd be going would be the Mariana Trench. Megalodons were warm water mammals, so the frigid temperatures of the Mariana Trench would make it impossible for them to survive there. Plus, if these enormous sharks still existed, we'd be finding their signature giant bite marks on other large marine animals. We'd also most likely have found at least one carcass or a skeleton by now, but that hasn't happened. The only remnants we found of these prehistoric monsters are their teeth, and we found a lot of them. The reason megalodon teeth are so easy to find is because they produced a ton of them. Unlike humans who only produce teeth during the early stages of life, sharks continue to produce new sets throughout their entire lives. Losing their teeth almost every 2 weeks, their teeth would sink down to the bottom of the ocean, where they would likely be fossilized. Most megalodons would go through about 40,000 teeth in their lifetime. That's a lot of remains for us to discover. But because we've never found an intact megalodon, there's still a lot we don't know about them. Here's what we've been able to find out so far. Megalodon sharks first showed up about 16 million years ago, and they were a dominant predator in the ocean, measuring anywhere between 10 to 18 meters. These giant beasts preyed upon anything from fish to dolphins and even whales. Then about 2 million years ago, they disappeared off the face of the earth, and scientists aren't exactly sure why. One theory is that they became extinct due to decreasing food sources and increasing competition for that food. Another more intriguing theory is that megalodons simply couldn't adapt to the cooling ocean temperatures, and that their prey kept moving to colder waters to escape them. Regardless of the reason behind their extinction, you can't help but imagine how different our oceans would be today if they had survived. It's estimated that a megalodon ate about 1,100 kilograms of food each day. If they were still around and eating that much, then there'd barely be enough large fish left in the ocean for us. And that wouldn't be the only problem for the fishing industry. We could also see megalodons tracking fishing boats and stealing the fish they catch, just like some killer whales do. With ocean temperatures warming up again, megalodons will be thriving and reproducing, resulting in even more of these giant mammals in the water. That would spell trouble for maritime shipping operations, cruise ships, and even beachgoers. Megalodons gave birth in warm, shallow waters, so a nice recreational beach swim could become very dangerous for us. Let's think a bit more about the impact on the food chain. If megalodons were around, they'd be at the very top, wouldn't they? Apex predators. This could seriously reduce the numbers of whales and other large marine animals. Imagine the knock-on effect. Smaller sharks might also disappear, unable to compete. The whole balance of the ocean would be turned upside down. And what about our fear? Can you imagine the fear people would have? Swimming in the sea would be a brave thing to do. Beaches might become deserted. The tourist industry in coastal areas would suffer massively. People might be too scared to even go on boats. The thought of these massive creatures lurking beneath the surface, chilling, isn't it? We should also consider the scientific implication. Studying a living megalodon would be incredible, wouldn't it? Think of all the things we could learn about prehistoric life, about evolution, about the deep sea. But then there's the ethical side. Could we keep such a creature in captivity? Would it be right? And the cost of research and protection? Astronomical. What would a planet look like if no animals went extinct? Maybe one day we'll be able to bring old species back and find out. But that's a story for another what if.
Did you know some legendary sea monsters were real? For centuries, sailors have returned from the vast uncharted oceans with tales of colossal beasts lurking in the depths, serpents that could crush ships, krakens that dragged men to their doom, sharks the size of whales. These were dismissed as mere fantasy, the fevered dreams of weary mariners. But what if these myths were not born from imagination alone? What if they were fragmented memories, echoes of encounters with creatures of a truly epic scale, creatures that once dominated our planet's oceans? Today, we shall dive into the mysteries of the deep, peeling back the layers of legend to reveal the astonishing truth. We will journey back in time through the mists of prehistory to meet the real titans of the sea. The evidence, locked away in stone and fossil, tells a story far more incredible than any myth. It speaks of a world where monsters were not just possible, but a reality. A world of unimaginable size and power, hidden just beneath the waves, waiting to be rediscovered. Join us as we delve into this lost world. Let's explore the science behind the sea monster, separating fact from fiction, and uncovering the breathtaking creatures that inspired our deepest fears and most enduring legends. The journey begins now, into the heart of the ancient oceans, where the truth behind the myths awaits. Prepare to be amazed by the real monsters that once haunted our planet's most profound and mysterious realm. Our first encounter takes us back some 20 million years, to a time when the oceans were ruled by a predator of almost unimaginable power. Its name has become synonymous with terror: Megalodon. This was not just a large shark, it was the largest predatory fish ever to have lived. For millennia, fossilized teeth would wash ashore some larger than a human hand. These were the tongue stones, believed by some to be the petrified tongues of dragons, believed by others to be tongues of giant serpents. The scientific reality is, in many ways, even more awe-inspiring. Carcharocles megalodon could reach lengths of up to 60 feet, perhaps even more. That's 3 times the size of the largest great white shark today. Its jaws were wide enough to swallow 2 adult humans, side by side, and lined with rows of serrated teeth, perfectly evolved for shearing through the flesh and bone of great whales. Imagine the sheer force of its bite. Paleontologists calculate it was the most powerful bite of any known animal, strong enough to crush the skull of a prehistoric whale as easily as crushing a piece of fruit. The scale would have been humbling. Moving through the water, it would have been less like a fish and more like a living, breathing submarine, a shadow of immense proportions patrolling the ancient seas. A single tooth was evidence enough for tales of sea monsters. The megalodon wasn't a myth. It was a real formidable ancestor of our sea monster lore. For millions of years, it was the undisputed king of the deep, a real-life monster that dwarfs any creature of fiction. From the mightiest of fish, we turn to a legend born of sailors' darkest nightmares, the Kraken. Tales from Norse sagas, maritime folklore, describe a beast of immense size, a mass of tentacles capable of encircling an entire ship and dragging it with its crew into the cold, dark abyss. For centuries, the Kraken was the ultimate symbol of the ocean's unknowable power, a monster so large it could be mistaken for an island. But it has a basis in reality. Its counterpart is a creature of profound mystery, the giant squid, Architeuthis ducks, known for a long time only from carcasses washed ashore and sucker-shaped scars on sperm whales. These remnants hinted at an animal of extraordinary proportions. In the 21st century, we captured the first images of a giant squid alive, a ghostly, beautiful creature of the Twilight Zone, growing to over 40 feet, with eyes the size of dinner plates, the largest eyes in the animal kingdom. Perfectly adapted to near total darkness, its 2 longest tentacles armed with powerful suckers, each lined with toothed rings. Imagine ancient mariners in a small wooden vessel encountering one at the surface. A dying, thrashing giant, or one hauled up after a titanic struggle with a sperm whale. Those enormous writhing arms and the colossal, unblinking eye would be seared into seafarers' memories. The Kraken is not a single beast, but the embodiment of our fear of the deep. The image of the sea serpent is one of the most persistent in maritime mythology. A long, serpentine body gliding through the waves, its head raised above the surface. From the Leviathan of the Bible, countless sightings reported by sailors. The discovery of strange, elongated fossils in the 19th century seemed to provide physical proof. But the truth was even more bizarre. The bones belonged not to a reptile, but to an ancient primitive whale, Basilosaurus, king lizard. Its discoverer first mistook it for a reptile because of its incredibly long, snake-like body, which could reach 65 feet. It looked like a nightmarish fusion of a whale and a serpent, a true predator of the Eocene seas, some 40 million years ago. Its skeleton was so long and sinuous an entire vertebral column was displayed as a sea serpent. Unlike modern whales, Basilosaurus had very different anatomy. While Megalodon ruled as the apex fish, another, equally terrifying predator shared the Miocene oceans. This was a hunter that matched the great shark in size and ferocity, a true titan that represents the peak of predatory power in marine mammals. Its name is Leviathan melvilli, a name that evokes the biblical sea monster Leviathan and pays homage to Herman Melville, the author of Moby Dick. It was, in essence, a killer sperm whale. Discovered in the deserts of Peru, the fossil skull of Leviathan is a truly fearsome object. Perhaps no mythical creature is more famous in the modern world than the Loch Ness Monster. The iconic image of a long-necked creature, its head held high above the water, has captivated the public for decades. Countless expeditions have searched the murky Scottish Loch for Nessie, but the monster's true identity may lie not in the present, but in the distant past, in an age when reptiles ruled the seas. The creature that so perfectly fits the description is the plesiosaur. Plesiosaurs were not dinosaurs, but a distinct group of marine reptiles that thrived during the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods. They were beautifully adapted to an aquatic life, with a broad turtle-like body and 4 powerful wing-like flippers that they would have used to fly through the water, much like a sea turtle or penguin does today. Their most striking feature, however, was their extraordinarily long and flexible neck, long before the age of sharks, whales, marine reptiles. The oceans of the Devonian period some 380 million years ago were home to a different kind of monster. This was a creature from a more ancient and alien world, a predator encased in a fortress of bone. This was Dunkleosteus, one of the largest of the placoderms, a class of armored prehistoric fish. It was a living, swimming guillotine. Dunkleosteus did not have teeth in the way we understand them. Instead, its mouth was armed with brutally sharp bony plates that formed a self-sharpening beak. As it opened and closed its mouth, the edges of these plates would grind against each other, maintaining a razor-sharp edge. It was a terrifyingly efficient killing machine, capable of shearing through any other creature of its time. It was the undisputed apex predator of the Age of Fishes. Reaching lengths of up to 30 feet, Dunkleosteus was a true giant. The front half of its body was covered in thick, articulated plates of bone, forming an impenetrable suit of armor for its head and thorax. Not all of the ocean's past giants were fearsome predators. Some were gentle titans, creatures whose sheer scale alone would have been enough to inspire awe and legend. Living in the late Cretaceous period, alongside the last of the dinosaurs and plesiosaurs, was the largest turtle ever to have lived. Archelon. Its name means ruling turtle, a fitting title for a creature of such epic proportions. Our final journey takes us to the Jurassic Seas, 165 million years ago, to meet a creature that may be the largest bony fish of all time. This was a gentle giant, a filter feeder of immense proportions, whose existence could have easily sparked tales of sea monsters. Its name is Leedsichthys problematicus. The species name, Problematicus, was given because its fossil remains were incredibly difficult to interpret. The skeleton of Leedsichthys was made mostly of cartilage, which does not fossilize well. What remained were thousands of scattered bone fragments, making it a colossal jigsaw puzzle for paleontologists. Conservative estimates place Leedsichthys at around 50 feet in length, but some evidence suggests it could have grown even larger, perhaps exceeding 70 feet. This would make it comparable in size to the modern whale shark, a true giant of the ocean. Like today's whale sharks and basking sharks, Leedsichthys was a filter feeder, plankton krill small fish. Despite its immense size, Leedsichthys was not at the top of the food chain. It was prey. Fossil evidence shows bite marks and injuries on Leedsichthys bones, indicating that these gentle giants were regularly hunted by the apex predators of their time. The oceans today still hold their secrets. The giant squid remains elusive, and new species are discovered in the abyss with every expedition. Submersible descending, now the legacy of these ancient titans lives on, not only in the myths they inspired, but in the deep-seated curiosity and respect we hold for the ocean's power. They remind us that for most of Earth's history, monsters were real. Their world was a grander, more terrifying, and perhaps more wonderful stage than our own. As we return to the surface, the depths recede, but the wonder remains. Which of these real-life monsters surprised you the most? Was it the whale-hunting whale, Leviathan, or the serpent-like Basilosaurus? Let me know in the comments below. The story of our planet is the greatest adventure of all, and there are always more mysteries to explore. If you wish to join me on future journeys into the deep past, be sure to subscribe and become part of our expedition. The abyss is waiting.
Beneath the waves, a legend once ruled the oceans, a titan of the deep whose very name whispers of immense power and an untamed ancient world. This is not a creature of myth, but a very real predator that commanded the seas for millions of years. We are embarking on a journey back in time, plunging into the prehistoric waters to confront the ghost of the ocean. A shark of such colossal proportions it dwarfs anything we know today. Its reign was absolute, its presence a force of nature that shaped the marine ecosystems of its time. This is the story of Otodus megalodon, the largest and most formidable shark ever to exist. Its shadow fell across a vast global ocean, a world teeming with life. Join me and as we piece together the puzzle of its existence. To truly grasp the monumental scale of the megalodon, a creature that defies modern comparison, we must first anchor ourselves in the present. Let's look to the apex predator of our modern seas, the great white shark. A creature of breathtaking power and fearsome reputation, it is the undisputed king of its domain, a perfect starting point for our comparison. A magnificent creature in its own right, a fully grown great white can reach lengths of over 6 meters. This is a truly formidable size that commands instinctual respect, a predator so effective its mere presence can clear an entire reef. Yet when we place this modern titan beside its ancient ancestor, the comparison becomes almost unbelievable. The great white is utterly dwarfed, reduced to a mere shadow against its colossal form. To visualize this, imagine taking 3 of the largest great whites ever recorded. Picture them aligned in a perfect procession, swimming nose to tail. Only then do you begin to approach the length of a single average megalodon. Scientific estimates pieced together from its fossilized teeth and vertebrae suggest it could reach staggering lengths of up to 18 meters, with some evidence pointing towards an incredible 20. That's longer than a school bus, a true sea monster from a bygone era. It moved through the water not just as a predator, but as a living island of muscle and teeth. Its passage created a pressure wave displacing so much water that smaller creatures would be helplessly tossed about in its powerful wake. Its dorsal fin alone, taller than a grown man, would have sliced through the water with terrifying purpose, propelling a body weighing upwards of 50 tons, the mass of a modern humpback whale, but packed with pure, relentless predatory might. This was not simply a shark, it was a leviathan, a scale of life so immense that our modern oceans likely could no longer support its metabolic needs. It was a true giant from a lost world. The sheer scale of this animal is almost beyond comprehension, a living testament to the wonders and terrors the natural world can produce. The true measure of a predator's power is often found in its jaws. Its mouth, wide enough to swallow 2 adult humans side by side, housed rows of serrated teeth, each a perfectly evolved tool for shearing through flesh and bone. But it was the force behind these teeth that was truly terrifying. Scientists have used sophisticated computer models, analyzing the size and structure of the shark's skull and jaw muscles. The results are frankly astounding. The bite of a great white shark registers at around 1.8 tons of force. The megalodon, however, could bring its jaws together with an estimated force of between 10 and 18 tons. That is strong enough to crush the skull of a whale as easily as we might crack a nut. This immense power allowed it to not only hunt the largest marine animals of its time perhaps by ramming and shattering their rib cages. It was a weapon of such finality that no creature in the ocean would have been safe from it. The dominion of the megalodon. This was a truly cosmopolitan predator whose hunting grounds spanned the entire globe. Evidence of its existence, fossilized teeth, has been unearthed on every single continent with the sole exception of Antarctica, North America, Europe, Australia, Asia, Africa. The big tooth tells a story of unparalleled distribution and adaptability. It reveals a creature perfectly in tune with the warm, temperate oceans of its era, Miocene, Pliocene. It thrived when sea levels were higher, creating vast, shallow coastal seas. Its meals would have been massive. Think whales. A single bite could strip tons of blubber and muscle. Not a nibbler or grazer, a consumer of giants, an engine of consumption. For over 20 million years the megalodon was an unstoppable force, the undisputed king of the ancient oceans. Its colossal shadow fell over every corner of the globe, a testament to its perfect, terrifying adaptation to a world teeming with life. And yet, around 3.6 million years ago, this giant just vanished from the seas forever. Its long and successful reign came to a surprisingly abrupt end. It wasn't just one single event, but a perfect storm of environmental changes that sealed its fate. The very world that had nurtured this titan began to turn against it. The world was changing, and the megalodon, a specialist predator, couldn't adapt quickly enough. As the planet entered a period of global cooling, the polar ice caps expanded and sea levels dropped dramatically, reshaping coastlines across the globe. This catastrophic shift altered ocean currents and temperatures, triggering a chain reaction of extinction. This wiped out many of the warm, shallow coastal seas that the megalodon used as nursery areas for its young. Without these safe havens, the next generation of giants was left vulnerable and exposed to larger predators and the harsh realities of the unforgiving open ocean. Its main food source, those large, slow-moving baleen whales, also adapted to the changing climate. They either evolved into more agile forms, becoming harder to catch, or migrated to the now frigid, food-rich polar waters. The warm-blooded megalodon, needing tropical temperatures to survive, simply couldn't follow. The megalodon was a creature of the tropics, its metabolism unable to cope with the icy polar seas. It was trapped in a shrinking world as its food source swam away. Scientists estimate a baby megalodon was at least 2 meters long at birth, larger than an adult human. This incredible size was a result of a grim survival strategy: cannibalism in the womb, where the strongest pups would devour their siblings. These nursery areas, located in warm, shallow, protected waters, would have been filled with these small titans, hunting smaller fish and marine mammals until they were large enough to join the adults in the open ocean. Its scientific name, Otodus megalodon, literally translates to big tooth, a fitting name, as these fossilized teeth are the primary window we have into its world. This name was bestowed upon it in the 19th century by the Swiss naturalist Louis Agassiz, who formally recognized it as an extinct species of giant shark. But long before scientists understood what they were, these teeth sparked myths. Found embedded in rock formations far from the sea, their origin was a profound mystery. In Renaissance Europe, these objects, known as glossopetri or tongue stones, were believed to be the petrified tongues of dragons that fell from the sky. Believed to hold protective powers, nobles and popes would wear them as pendants or dip them into their drinks to neutralize any potential poison. It wasn't until 1667 that the Danish naturalist Nicolaus Steno correctly identified them. By dissecting the head of a great white shark, he made the groundbreaking connection, noting the undeniable similarity and laying a foundation for modern paleontology. To fuel a body the size of a school bus, an animal like Megalodon required prey of an equal caliber. It was a hypercarnivore with an immense metabolism that couldn't be sustained on small fish alone. It needed a diet of staggering proportions, targeting the most energy-rich food source available, the thick, insulating blubber of the ocean's giants. Across the globe, paleontologists have unearthed the victims. Fossilized whale bones, scarred for eternity, bear the unmistakable signature of a megalodon attack. These aren't just scratches, they are huge, deep gouges that perfectly match the serrated blades of its colossal teeth. By studying these ancient wounds, scientists have pieced together a brutal and intelligent hunting strategy. This wasn't just brute force. It likely first acted as a battering ram, slamming into a whale's ribcage to crush bones and cause debilitating internal trauma. Then, with its prey stunned, it would use its powerful jaws to bite off fins and flukes, a calculated move to immobilize a dangerous, multi-ton animal before delivering the final, fatal bite. The sheer awe inspired by the megalodon has led to a persistent belief that it still survives in unexplored depths. This captivating idea has swum into popular culture, making it a modern-day sea monster in blockbuster films and sensationalist documentaries. It's a tantalizing fantasy, fueled by the vast, dark mystery of our own planet. With over 80% of our ocean remaining unmapped and unobserved, the question lingers like a shadow in the deep. If we know so little, who's to say what's really down there? However, the overwhelming scientific consensus is that the megalodon is extinct. A creature of that size would leave a colossal footprint. We'd find modern bite marks on whales, and its enormous teeth, which it shed by the thousands, would constantly be replenishing the fossil record. Yet, we have found none younger than 3.6 million years old. A viable population would also need a massive food supply of large whales, forcing it into the sunlit surface waters where its prey breathes. It simply couldn't hide in the abyss and survive. The evidence, or rather the lack of it, is conclusive. Though the megalodon itself is gone, its ghost lingers, not in the deep sea but in the fossil record and the scientific inquiry it inspires. Its story is a lesson on the fragility of apex predators facing a changing planet. Its extinction created a power vacuum, paving the way for new hunters like the great white shark and the orca, shaping the marine ecosystems we know today. The tale of the megalodon is a powerful reminder that our planet's history is written in the depths. The ocean still holds countless other secrets. What will we discover next? If you wish to continue this journey with me into the great blue unknown, be sure to subscribe and join our crew for more epic ocean stories. The adventure is just beginning. It rests in the eternal darkness, 2.5 miles beneath the waves, a silent giant, slowly dissolving into the ocean floor. This is the RMS Titanic. More than a century has passed since its final fateful voyage, yet its story does not fade. In fact, it grows stronger, echoing through time. We are drawn to it not just for the tragedy but for the questions it left behind. The ship of dreams has become a ghost ship of mysteries. It calls to us from the abyss, a place where the truth is buried deep, along with the hopes and fears of all who sailed on her. In the spring of 1912, the world was filled with a sense of boundless possibility. It was an age of invention and progress, and the grandest symbol of this new age was the Titanic. It was the largest moving object ever built by human hands, a floating palace of steel and rivets, luxury and technology. It was declared to be practically unsinkable. On April 10th, it set sail from Southampton, England. Its destination was New York City. For 4 days, the journey was a dream. The great ship sliced through the calm Atlantic waters. It was a microcosm of society. Luxury above, hope below. The official story tells us the iceberg gashed the Titanic's side, flooding its watertight compartments. Simple physics. But one of the most persistent mysteries is the speed of the sinking. The ship was designed to stay afloat with up to 4 of its 16 watertight compartments flooded. The iceberg damaged 5, maybe 6. Some theories point to the ship's materials. Was the steel too brittle? In the North Atlantic cold, did steel plates lose strength and shatter like glass rather than bend? Modern analysis of recovered hull fragments suggests the steel was lower grade. Or the rivets, millions of them, possibly poorer quality in places. And then, there is the fire. A small, ignored fire becoming the catalyst for a massive, swift disaster. On that fatal night, the Titanic was not alone in the icy darkness. Another ship, the SS Californian, was stopped nearby. It was so close that officers on the Titanic's bridge could see its lights. Survivors later testified they watched the lights of a distant ship for hours, a beacon of hope that never moved closer. On the Californian, officers also saw lights. They saw a large steamer. Then they saw white rockets being fired into the sky. But the crew did not act. Captain Stanley Lord had gone to bed after ordering the ship to stop because of the ice. His wireless operator had turned off his equipment minutes before Titanic's first distress call. Officers woke the captain when they reported the rockets. The official inquiries condemned Captain Lord. Had the Californian responded, it might have reached Titanic before it sank. This leaves a haunting question. Was the Californian a silent witness to a preventable tragedy? While the Titanic was firing its white distress rockets, a mystery of a different color was unfolding. Several survivors, including officers on the lifeboats, reported seeing something strange in the distance. It was a moving light, like a steamship on the horizon. Some even testified under oath that they saw this ship approach, turn, and then sail away. This account is separate from the Californian, which was known to be stopped. Some have speculated it might have been a sealing vessel, perhaps operating illegally in the area. A ship that would avoid attention at all costs. Answering a distress call would mean facing authorities, a risk an illicit ship might avoid. Decades later, a former crewman claimed the Samson had been sealing illegally and fled when it saw rockets. He said they saw the white rockets and, fearing the authorities, turned and fled into the darkness. The timeline and location of the Samson have been heavily disputed, and the story remains unverified. The idea that help was so close that a ship saw their plight and sailed away, adds another layer of tragedy. It is a chilling thought, a deliberate and cold choice at sea. And the mysteries on the water were not limited to the night of the sinking. They began even before. One eerie account comes from J.H. Reed, aboard the Carmania, a week earlier. He wrote to his wife describing a vision through his cabin's porthole. A great liner, sinking. He identified the ship as the Titanic. Was it a coincidence, a dream, or something more? The human mind is powerful, yet the detail and timing are hard to dismiss. Another phantom sighting came after the sinking, a wireless warning of a strange wrecked schooner in the ice. No other ship reported that wreck. What did they see? Scientists point to optical illusions like fata morgana, common in polar regions. An iceberg can resemble a broken ship, a cruel mirage. But for those who saw them, the feeling was real. Premonitions add to the Titanic's almost supernatural legend. They hint at strange energies and unexplained phenomena. The final moments of Captain Edward John Smith are shrouded in contradiction and mystery. As the captain, his fate was sealed with that of the Titanic. Tradition was clear. A captain goes down with his ship, but how he met his end is told in many conflicting ways. Some witnesses claimed he shot himself on the bridge, a story fiercely denied by the White Star Line. A handful of survivors claimed to have seen Captain Smith in the freezing sea. One stoker said Smith swam to an overturned lifeboat holding a child, handed the child up, then swam away. It's a tale of heroism, rumor, and contradiction, each image shaped by trauma and memory. Did he die alone on his bridge? Did he perform a final, selfless act? The truth likely lies in the chaos of that night, a personal story lost amid the larger tragedy. The captain's final moments remain his own secret, another mystery committed to the deep Atlantic. We can only wonder. His final truth remains sealed. Of all the what-ifs in the Titanic story, one of the most frustrating involves a simple object, a pair of binoculars. The key to the crow's nest locker was missing. It had been accidentally taken ashore by Officer David Blair when he was transferred off at the last minute. Without the key, the lookouts had to rely on eyesight alone to scan the dark ocean. Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee later said binoculars might have let them see the iceberg sooner. The iceberg may have been dark, flipped over, and the sea glassy, making detection difficult. Binoculars would have amplified faint starlight glinting off the ice. A single forgotten key, a small oversight with monumental consequences. High speed, ignored warnings, brittle steel, calm seas, lack of binoculars, small mistakes combined. The key remains a potent symbol that the largest fates can hang on the smallest details, a haunting reminder of chance and human fallibility. More than a century later, the Titanic rests in its silent, watery grave. It is a ghost, but it is not at peace. Deep currents flow through its decaying halls. Human curiosity keeps flowing toward its story. We have explored the wreckage, analyzed the evidence, and listened to the echoes of survivors. The ocean is slowly consuming the ship. Scientists warn it may collapse entirely in decades. Each year, the window to uncover final truths grows smaller. The race against time continues. The fascination isn't just about puzzles, it's about connecting to a human story. Epic and personal, ambition, love, sacrifice, loss. The Titanic haunts our collective imagination, a ghost ship on a sea of unanswered questions. We may never know for certain, and we are left to look into the darkness and to wonder.
There is a world vast and silent that blankets the majority of our home. A realm of profound darkness and crushing pressure where sunlight struggles to penetrate human presence is but a fleeting intrusion. For millennia we have gazed upon its surface, sailed its currents, harvested its bounty. Yet we know more about the surface of the moon than we do about the floors of our own seas. This liquid kingdom holds secrets that challenge our understanding of history, physics, and even life itself. It is a place of myth and legend, unexplained phenomena, startling discoveries. The ocean covers more than 70% of our planet, yet its depths remain largely unexplored. Today we dive into 20 of the greatest mysteries lurking beneath the waves. Our first descent takes us to a stretch of the North Atlantic Ocean that has captured the human imagination for decades. It is known as the Bermuda Triangle. Bermuda, Florida, Puerto Rico. Countless stories have been born, tales of ships found perfectly intact but utterly deserted, accounts of sophisticated aircraft disappearing from radar screens in clear skies, leaving behind nothing but a chilling silence and a legacy of unanswered questions. Investigators and scientists have proposed numerous theories. Rogue waves, magnetic anomalies, explosive methane gas eruptions from the seabed. Yet, for every plausible explanation, there is a case that defies it. The disappearance of Flight 19 in 1945, a squadron of 5 US Navy torpedo bombers flying in formation. They vanished during a routine training mission. The rescue plane sent to find them also disappeared a conclusion that hangs over this enigmatic patch of sea to this day. In the summer of 1997, a sound echoed up from the abyssal plains of the South Pacific. It was a sound unlike any other ever recorded, picked up by hydrophones placed thousands of miles apart by the United States National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. It was powerful ultra-low in frequency and lasted for about a minute. Scientists named it the bloop. The sound was so immense, so utterly colossal in its volume, initial analysis suggested its origin had to be an animal. But to be heard that far, the creature would have to be gargantuan, dwarfing even the magnificent blue whale. For years, speculation ran wild. Years later, NOAA proposed a more terrestrial explanation: the sound of a massive icequake. While this theory is now widely accepted, the legend of the bloop endures a reminder of the immense unseen forces at play in the deep ocean and the tantalizing possibility of what might still be hidden there. Off the southern coast of Japan, near the island of Yonaguni, lies a submerged structure that blurs the line between geology and archaeology. Discovered in 1986 by a local diver, the Yonaguni Monument is a colossal series of rock formations rising from the seabed. It features immense flat terraces, sharp, right-angled steps, towering pillars that appear almost deliberately carved and placed. The main structure is staggering, measuring some 50 meters long and 20 meters wide. It looks for all the world like the ruins of a sunken city, and the debate rages fiercely. Some geologists argue that these are entirely natural formations, the result of tectonic activity and erosion shaping the sandstone over millennia. However, others point to features that seem too precise, too intentional. What appears to be a carved stone turtle, distinct staircases, and formations resembling roads. If man-made, the monument would have to be over 10,000 years old, predating the Egyptian pyramids by millennia and rewriting our understanding of early human history. In 2011, a team of Swedish oceanographers were using sonar to search for old shipwrecks on the floor of the Baltic Sea. What they found was, well, something far stranger. Their equipment mapped a large circular object about 60 meters in diameter, resting on the seabed nearly 90 meters below the surface. The object had features that seemed distinctly unnatural: rounded sides, rigid angles, and what looked like a staircase leading to a dark hole. Dubbed the Baltic Sea anomaly, the sonar image quickly went viral. Subsequent dives to the site only deepened the mystery. Divers reported that their electrical equipment, including satellite phones and cameras, just failed when they were directly above the object. Samples were basalt, but with an unusual burned-like crust. Theories range from a glacial deposit to a Cold War anti-submarine device, even a UFO. Whatever its true identity, the Baltic Sea anomaly remains a perplexing puzzle, resting silently in the cold, dark waters. On the 8th of March 2014, a Boeing 777 aircraft, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, departed from Kuala Lumpur, bound for Beijing with 239 souls on board. Less than an hour into its flight, it vanished from civilian radar screens over the South China Sea. Military radar tracked the plane deviating wildly, turning west and then heading south over the southern Indian Ocean. For hours, the aircraft continued to fly, a ghost plane communicating only through automated satellite pings, then just silence. The final pings suggested it flew until it ran out of fuel, crashing somewhere remote. Despite years of searching, the main wreckage has never been found. Only a few scattered pieces washed ashore. The fundamental questions remain unanswered. Why did the plane turn? What happened in the cockpit? We now journey to the deepest known point on Earth, a place of eternal darkness and unimaginable pressure, the Mariana Trench, plunging nearly 11,000 meters below the surface. The pressure here is over 1,000 times that at sea level. For a long time it was believed that no life could possibly survive such extreme conditions, but expeditions revealed a world teeming with bizarre, uniquely adapted life. The ghostly Mariana snailfish, a small translucent creature that thrives under pressure that would crush bone. Giant amphipods, shrimp-like crustaceans that grow to startling sizes. Strange ethereal sea cucumbers drift gracefully. These organisms have evolved flexible bones, pressure-resistant enzymes, and a reliance on chemosynthesis rather than sunlight. Each new dive reveals new species and new questions. Life finds a way even in the most crushing corners of our world. For centuries, sailors told tales of monstrous waves. In 1995, the Draupner platform measured a 26-meter rogue wave, proof the monster was real. One theory: multiple waves traveling at different speeds and directions can align, constructing one massive fleeting wave. In December 1900, 3 lighthouse keepers vanished from the Flannan Isles. The clocks had stopped. A hasty departure and severe storm damage suggested a sudden tragedy, but no bodies were found. In 1977, scientists discovered hydrothermal vents, towering chimneys spewing superheated toxic water. Yet these were oases for life: tube worms, blind crabs, dense mussel beds. Bacteria harness chemical energy in place of sunlight, a discovery that suggests life could exist in similar vents on other worlds like Europa. The eel, centuries of mystery. European and American eels live in fresh water, then transform and migrate thousands of kilometers to spawn in the Sargasso Sea. Their leaf-shaped larvae drift on currents for years, navigating back to the rivers of their ancestors, a migration still poorly understood. Our final mystery takes us to the coast of India, the sunken city of Dwarka. Hindu texts speak of Dwarka. Marine archaeology has uncovered submerged walls and foundations consistent with these accounts. Sonar revealed geometric seabed patterns. Artifacts dated back thousands of years. Debate continues, but the line between myth and history has blurred. From the disquieting silence of the Mary Celeste to the vibrant life of hydrothermal vents, our journey has crossed the globe and into its deepest points. Each mystery is a puzzle piece waiting to be placed. The ocean guards its secrets fiercely, challenging our technology, intellect, and courage. Which mystery do you think will be solved next? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into the unknown.